contributions are redistributed to fund all the EU activities throughout the Union. The UK, for example, takes back around £4 billion for various EU-funded projects, plus a rebate. More about that later.
So when we set off back to Blighty without EU cash, it requires a smaller truck. And there's Henri, with his rebates, back off to Paris. But he appears to be in the same truck as he arrived in. So what's going on there?
It appears Henri returns to France with 98% of his contributions, the bulk of which is destined for the French farmers as part of their common agricultural policy deal, because historically it's always been that way. This situation has continued for many years and it's set to get worse. So far, the UK has contributed £300 billion, of which only £66 billion has been spent directly in the UK.
I just think they take the mickey out of us, basically. Especially common agricultural policy. I don't think that's right. It should be worked out again, or they shouldn't have it.
That's my feeling, that we sort of play cricket in this country, and abroad they don't necessarily.
Kind of get screwed over, I guess, don't we? Spending that much money, what do we get out of it? Not much.
The hard-won rebates that Mrs Thatcher negotiated many years ago were surrendered last year by Tony Blair. Add to that the funding for the newest members to the EU club, and we're in for some very expensive years ahead.
Finally, the UK is putting more effort into eco-friendly ways of disposing of our rubbish, and recycling is becoming second nature to many of us.
This has resulted in reduced levels of domestic waste going into precious landfill sites like this. As usual, the EU is driving to encourage recycling, not through incentives nor education, but with a new tax. And the culprit here is EU Directive 1999-31. Another weighty contribution to the tip.
It dictates that by 2020, around half of UK household waste must be diverted from landfills. The EU has imposed a UK landfill tax of £32 for every tonne of waste your council brings here.
The impact of this EU intervention is being felt here, and is one of the reasons why your council tax has gone up, and why collections around many parts of the country have been reduced to once a fortnight.
Worryingly, some councils are now resorting to installing computer chips in wheelie bins in preparation for charging individuals for the rubbish they put in their bins. And it will get worse. From 2010, the landfill tax will have increased substantially, set to be between £100 and £150 per tonne.
Someone has to pay this tax, and it'll probably be you.
This is the seat of their power, the European Parliament in Brussels. And just for good measure, there's a second campus at Strasbourg, at the request of the French. Witness the process of EU democracy, legislating over the detail of every aspect of life within EU states, often with voting schedules so intense that they abandon electronic voting with the inevitable chaos and mistakes.
No amendments in favour, against, abstentions? That's carried. Congratulations to the rapporteur. Next, Mr. Blockland's report. Batteries and accumulators, and waste batteries and accumulators. So, proposal for a directive. 2 amendments, 2 blocks. Block 1, compromise. All in favour? Against? Abstentions? That's carried.
Yesterday we had the President of the Parliament tell us that it was acceptable to make a number of mistakes in getting the vote wrong because we're voting so fast it's impossible to see how people are voting anyway. Can you please slow down?
Chers collègues. Dear colleagues, well, let me just show you what we've got to get through today. I'm sorry, but, we're never going to get through it if we don't proceed apace.
This is hardly the way a democratic organisation should conduct its business, let alone one that controls a union of states governing around 500 million people.
In a recent survey, only 1 in 10 people questioned said they believe the EU is accountable, and that was before they knew about the Lisbon Treaty.